его голос я совсем по-другому представлял.
Вот бы сразу его слышать, конечно. Да, потому что подслушиваешь, ты не слышишь первый диалог. Теперь мне это раздражает.
I'm Captain Aureus, if you must know, leader of the Legion in Sicil. By which I mean I have the enviable task of commanding a battalion of walking dead. For I fear it may well be but a matter of time before the undead undo all my soldiers and turn them into drivelling hordes of their own misshapen number. Gods above! Some politician snuffs it and everyone's in an uproar. Ridiculous! I told that wizard brat of an Ahu not to bother, but he just had to send for source hunters, didn't he? Bloody magicians. They see a pigeon poop and think sorcery's afoot. Nevertheless, I want to be kept in the loop. Understand? I am in command of this town, not Mayor Cecil, not Ahu, and definitely not some hotshot source hunter. So investigate Jake's death if you feel so inclined, but report back to me the moment you discover something out of the ordinary. The scene of the crime is over at the King Crab Inn. You can tell the guard you have my permission to enter. Now off with you! Esmeralda is Jake's wife. Well, widow. Everyone in town, down to the crabs on the beach, is convinced she killed him. Now, the girl has the reputation of being a flirt. There is that. But that doesn't suffice as evidence, wouldn't you say? Or do source hunters rely on hearsay alone, perhaps? That certainly would explain some of the cock-ups you lot have made in the past. What? You're going to stand there and claim with a straight face your order never wrongly tortured and executed anyone? Hardly. But I won't stand for such nonsense. If you bring evidence before me, I'll evaluate it with perfect objectivity. The Legion relies on reason, see? Not idle superstition. If you must. Bravo! Figured that one out, did you? I haven't been stuck here for 2 years because we're being besieged by fluffy kittens, you know. Those brain-feasting freaks out there keep on coming. And it takes all the sword arms and all of Ahu's half-baked contraptions to keep them at bay. Keeping them at bay, that is all we do. Were that I could break their backs once and for all. How am I enjoying it? Are you spoiling for a fight, Hunter? Are you? Sicil stinks of fish, reeks of orcs, and on a good day the wind disperses the stench of decomposing corpses. I can't remember the last time I had a proper piece of steak, and by now I retch at the mere sight of sardines. So in conclusion, I am not enjoying Sicil. We are the pride of Rivellon, to be found and to be seen everywhere. We don't hide in the dark and lurk in corners like some I could mention. No, we protect the civilized from the barbaric, and we do so impeccably. I'd say they're looking for weak spots in our defenses. They can't make an attack over land for fear of Ahu's magical machines, so they're trying their luck by sea. They won't succeed, though. Not against the Legion. Yes, and he also spends most of his time in the guise of a cat, licking God's knows which body parts. Sects, sorcerers, He'll be seeing flying carpets next.
Бля, ну эту шутку я помню.
You, again. Do feel free to depart from Sicil at your earliest convenience.
Что-то много фиолетовых шмоток попадается.
Ну, ничего плохого.
Я уже начинаю сомневаться, а фиолетовые раньше были?
Логичнее ответить, что да, но хуй. Ну, вроде.
У меня уже такое ощущение, что нет.
Что за ощущение?
Что не было фиолетовых шмоток. Я слушаю.
But certainly. What would you like to know? Oh, I am but a wizard, a guardian of man and beast, and indeed I am both. My body, like any other, is bound to temporal decay. But my spirit is a speck of light that shone forth from the eternal sun that is the cosmic soul. My task upon this earth is to protect the heart of nature, the very antithesis of which is the intrigue spun by demons and directors of the dead. Hence my involvement in Sicil.
Что директор? Типа дирижеры мертвых?
You see, my one desire is to witness a world in which every mother looks around her and purrs with calm contentment, for she knows that her chicks or children, her cubs or calves, will grow up without knowing the meaning of menace, the enfeeblement of fear. To my great regret, none of them purr as yet. Oh, but that's not a trick. It's a blessing. Or does it surprise you that I enjoy taking a feline guise? Such magic is a gift, Hunter. To tread upon the realm of instinct, even articulate speech, perhaps humanity's greatest asset, cannot give expression to something so inextricably innate. To be out in the night, to stalk on silent paws and hunt with only the moon as your witness, you couldn't possibly imagine the thrill. But of course it's handy to speak in more than meows. And I couldn't brew potions or make machines without opposable thumbs, this I freely admit. Let's just say I have found a way to enjoy the best of two worlds. Oh, that'll never happen. Granted, a witch could make the polymorph permanent if she'd enchant me in my cat guise, but I'll just have to be careful around witches, won't I?
Как эту жену короля брака звали? Ладно, потом вспомню.
Жену? Сестру, может?
Или сестру. Которая на троне еще, блядь, сидит, восседает.
I'm my own wizard, you know, and I don't intend to become anyone's familiar. By all means. Of course. I hope your investigation fares well. I can but piece together what few morsels fell from the grapevine into a rather disappointing meal, I'm afraid. They say a woman arrived in the King Crab Inn sometime after midnight. She retired to a room on the ground floor where she was soon joined by a man who had been nursing the same cup of wine for hours. I say man and woman because both of them were cloaked and recognized by none. About an hour later, another figure arrived, headed for the same room. Soon after, a terrible commotion erupted and the thundering light of magic was witnessed by the few remaining patrons. It took a while for the landlord to pluck up the courage to enter the mystery room. When finally he did, he found Jake there, dead. How and why he came to be there, no one knows. But I had a good look around the scene of the crime before the Legion barred anyone from entering. The traces of magic I felt were vile. Source, no doubt. I myself have none, even though the rest of the town has already mentally tried and convicted Jake's wife Esmeralda. Now, it may well be established that she is in fact the guilty party. I'm not claiming that I'm certain she's innocent, but let's just say that if I really thought this murder case would be so very easily resolved, I wouldn't have sent for source hunters. I can't say much more, but that they're madmen, all the more dangerous to us because of their alliance with what should be a natural enemy. You won't see me teaming up with a terrier in a hurry. And what might those be? Those who are raising the dead dwell among us. They simply must be. But even though I've spent many a night leaping from tree to rooftop, watching on as citizens stagger home from the inn or simply burn the midnight oil, I haven't spied a single soul worthy of true suspicion. The enemy is wily. They know us better than we know them, and they've found ways to avoid both detection and distrust. And yet, I am somehow convinced that you may succeed where the Legion and I have failed. Call it instinct. You have a flair for understatements, Hunter. I'm sure they are but a minor nuisance in the eyes of a born warrior. But to the Legion, they are green-skinned death incarnate. Until they conclude what mischief they intend to see through, or, less likely, they are conclusively defeated, we can but bar the gates and hole up like mice while the cats are on the prowl. Oh, a mere trifle for one with the intellect of a feline and the engineering skills of a human. You basically construct a classic ballista, add a 100% legally obtained self-regenerating source of destructive magic to it, and Bobcat's your uncle.
Ты помнишь, где чьи квесты делаются?
Or have you? The cretin's question crossed her lips and ached an air of aptitude.
Hey, Cal. I
Ну,
think that was an
да.
insult.
Don't pay attention to the beast, Various. You'll only encourage it.
Это, по-моему, глухой и маг, по-моему, в самой последней главе, да?
Да. Ее,
это
по-моему, в пещере за водопадом, где
You don't think it's
кровяных,
infected, do you?
кровяных животных
Come on now,
призывает
I
маг.
pulled her
По-моему,
off
это
you
ее.
before she could do any real
Амадора.
Sorry, sir.
damage.
Any real
Нет,
damage? Are
вот
you
этой
joking?
дуры,
I've
по-моему.
been mauled. I'll be disfigured for
Амадора.
life.
Ah, come on with the
Я не
dramatics.
знаю.
It's not as bad as
Не
all
помню
that.
вообще, чтобы ни у кого из
The
был.
face, Virius. She bit me in the
Эй.
face.
Look on the bright side. Everyone
Ну,
knows
тогда
the
сначала
ugly
их взять
soldiers
из
are the
последних
most
главах этих
ferocious.
двух пидоров.
Ugly'll be the least of it. The beast looks rabid. Sorry, sir.
In that case, you'll have the pleasure of putting her down yourself.
I wish for you to try it, Screech woman. The
Я
beast
с Мадоркой
stinks.
хочу
So you've
бегать.
half a brain behind that feral maul, have you?
Ну,
The
чисто ради
cretin's
квестов в
question
последних главах
crushed her
взять
lips
вот этого
and
мага
ate an
и
air of
этого пидора.
aptitude.
Hey, Tull,
Uh-huh.
I think that was an
Ну,
insult.
типа, да, понял.
Don't pay attention to the
Бля, сейчас приду. Стой.
sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again! Those boots would embarrass a bridge troll. Get to shining recruits.
Sorry, sir.
Attention! About face! To the barracks! March! Recruits! That was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again! Attention! About face! To the barracks! March! Recruits! That was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again! About face!
You're a source hunter, aren't you? They say you can talk to animals, but I, for one, won't be falling for such a tall tale.
Sicilian stew. Again! Those boots would embarrass a bridge troll. Get to shining recruits.
Sorry, sir.
You think that's funny, Private?
Sir, no, sir.
Those boots would embarrass a bridge troll. Get to shining recruits.
Sorry, sir.
Attention! About face! To the barracks! March! Recruits! That was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again! Attention! About face! To the barracks! March! Recruits! That was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again! Attention! About face! To the barracks! March! Recruits! That was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again! Attention! About face! To the barracks! March! Recruits! That was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again! Those boots will embarrass a bridge troll. Get to shining recruits.
Sorry, sir.
You think that's funny, Private?
Sir, no, sir.
embarrass a bridge troll. Get to shining recruits.
Sorry, sir.
You think that's funny, Private?
Sir, no, sir.
Those boots would embarrass a bridge troll. Get to shining recruits.
Sorry, sir.
Attention! About face! To the barracks! March! Recruits! That was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again! Those boots would embarrass a bridge troll. Get to shining recruits.
Sorry, sir.
Attention! About face! To the barracks! March! Recruits! That was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again! Attention! About face! To the barracks! March! Recruits! That was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again! Those boots would embarrass a bridge troll. Get to shining recruits.
Sorry, sir.
Those boots would embarrass a...
I wouldn't venture too far out of town if I were you. Many legionnaires did so before you. Very few have returned. Greetings! These stalls are for our Legion troops. Rivellon's finest work up mighty fine appetite serving the 7. Greetings! These stalls are for our Legion troops. Rivellon's finest work up mighty fine
жрите.
appetite serving the 7.
Those boots would embarrass a...
Easy, Tull. That's the source hunter you're talking to.
You think that's
She may
funny,
have the look
Private?
of a woman if you squint hard enough, but she's no more than a wild animal. We got reports of a strange-looking outsider skulking through the town with her bow drawn. I found her crouched behind a tree, taking aim at a fat old rat trotting along the city walls. I tapped her on the shoulder to see what was what, and the beast startled like a wild cat and lunged right at me.
Bit Tullia right in the face, she did. It wasn't pretty, and now it's got a chunk ripped off it to boot.
Enjoy it while you can, Ver. There's not another legionnaire in the cohort that'll have you if I go rabid.
Well, that's to be decided. She doesn't seem to be sick, despite Tully's moaning. We can't keep her here forever, but we can't well send her into the wilds again, can we?
Recruits! That was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again!
Well, that's a relief, ain't it? We found a good home for her after all, Tull.
About face!
Heed me, Source Hunter.
Почему мне не
She's not
написала,
good
что ты
for
там
anything
выбираешь?
more than cannon fodder. And don't turn your back on her when she's got that bow within arm's reach.
Варианты не написал.
Stew. Again!
Ну, просто дальше, типа. Ты, видимо, там у тебя был выбор, у меня просто ты ответил дальше.
Those boots would embarrass a bridge troll. Get to shining recruits.
Sorry, sir.
Attention!
Source Hunter. I have heard tales both grand and terrible about the world of humans. I myself was caged one moment and freed the next by our kind.
Ну, такой
In
обычный
home
голос.
forests, every creature acts according to the nature of its kind. Birds frighten easily, badgers fear little. But amongst men, there are no guarantees.
Хотя тут, блин, у каждого на озвучке какой-то акцент.
Sorry, sir.
Да. Ну, не у каждого, у многих.
Those boots would embarrass a bridge troll. Get to shining recruits.
Sorry, sir.
You think that's funny, Private?
Sir, no, sir.
Attention!
If you say it is so, then wary I will be. As the god wolf Amira commanded Threes. Win you from your wicked world, or cold company will corrupt you.
Sicilian stew. Again! Attention! About face! To the barracks! March! Recruits! That was lovelier than Sicilian stew.
Blasted poultry.
это было всегда тут сидело?
chicken!
Чё?
А это пугало всегда тут сидела?
Вроде, ща подожди. Это первая из моих сестренок. Ну да, походу вот эту записку мы в прошлый раз проебали. Куда-то мы ее дели. Ты, наверное, из нее что-то скрафтил.
Давай, у меня есть пустая сумка, никуда не пригодная, я туда засуну. Это будет сумка тупо для этих сундуков.
Ну да, там очевидно, что 0. Я его просто угадал в этот раз.
Ну да. Вот она всегда тут сидела?
Хотя, мне кажется, нет. Я бы заметил карту. Я бы запомнил карту с крестиком. Я был уже...
I know you're probably knee-deep in that awful murder investigation, but truth be told, the Legion could use your help as well. We've been conducting a series of expeditions into undead territory, and I'm afraid I must admit they've met with very little success.
Да и всякой хуйни у нее очень много, то есть она как торгаш идет. Выбихи.
Lieutenant Selenia, at your service. I'm Captain Aureus' second-in-command, but rest assured I am a lot more kindly inclined towards source hunters than he is.
Ну да, не был так.
Now, I certainly don't mind a bit of healthy competition, and even rivalry between our orders, but I, for one, have no intention of looking a gift horse in the mouth. And that is exactly what your presence in Sicil is, Source Hunter. A gift and a blessing. Only heroes such as yourself can make a true difference in this troubled part of the world. Such is my honest conviction.
Соусы.
The undead.
Я только за примагелом не
I pitied them
хочется.
at first. Many among them were once kind and innocent civilians of Sicil after all. No longer do I feel that way, though.
Уже 48
Too many of
шариков
my
есть.
soldiers have fallen. The dead must be put down without mercy, if we can. The bravest among my men and women tell me they are weaker in the west and stronger in the east. So I suggest you head westward if you want to flex your muscles and test the waters before blindly diving to your death.
Ну, до конца баннера Архонта и Ящерица точно 80 накоплю. Ну, вроде как.
I shall be very glad to share what information I can give you. It's very sweet of you that you are trying to get these men a job, but I'm afraid they're not Legion material. Sure, they can tie a knot and blow a whistle like the best of them, but even with a sword in their hands, they wouldn't stand a chance against the undead, and I don't want any more blood on my hands. If ever we want to be victorious in Sicil, we have to track down the root of the undead uprising. Under the Pact of Volunteers, 3 expeditions were launched to do just that, but so far, none of their participants have returned. 3 landmarks were chosen for further investigation: the lighthouse, the burial mounds, and the old church. Places fraught with danger all.
Ну, это вот около города походить, и в итоге мы найдем только археолога, которого до города надо довести. Вроде 2 трусишек, они не относятся к этой экспедиции.
There's a lighthouse to the west, up on the bluffs, overlooking the sea. No man has gone there in a decade, and yet a light shines from its pinnacle every night. The locals say it's haunted, and half a dozen legionnaires have gone to find out whether or not those are mere tall tales. I fear for their safety.
Хотя, может, и относится. Не помню, сколько там трупов можно было облутать около маяка. Штуки 3 точно было.
There are ancient burial grounds to be found north of the city. As good a place as any to start looking for necromancers, wouldn't you say? A local archaeologist offered to tag along with the men. Here's hoping his knowledge on the subject may prove to be of use to them. There's a church to the northeast of here, built atop the very place where once stood a temple dedicated to the source. The Sicilians razed it, and built a church for the 7 instead, supposedly to symbolize the victory of the gods over evil sorcery. All superstitious mumbo-jumbo, if you ask me. But when the dead rose, that is when they were first spotted. Hence the expedition. So I did. The Pact of Volunteers. Many legionnaires will do whatever it takes to go home, which is why I personally sign their transfer orders the moment they make it back from a mission behind enemy lines. The chances of survival during these sorties are only about 1 in 10, you see. So my soldiers are free to volunteer, and if they are successful, they just bought themselves a boat ride home. Divines doubly bless you, friend.
Так, тишина, silence.
Что?
Свиток silence, это хорошо.
У нее?
Да.
У меня денег, да.
Greetings! These stores are for our Legion troops. Rivellon's finest work up mighty fine appetite serving the 7. Better to evacuate this place while there's still some left to save.
A chicken has the right to live too.
papa. Come on, chicken, 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 viens chez papa. Come on, chicken, 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 viens chez papa.
Yes, let's pardon him. Just look at the little blighter. He doesn't deserve the knife.
Yippee-ki-yay! I'm free! I'm free! So long, suckers!
You... Ugh. Why did you let my chicken escape? You again? Come to throw my dinner to the wind again, have you? I'm Chef Maurice, the one and only culinary connoisseur capable to make a dish for an army with little more than a single chicken.
Хроник. Я не знаю, вдруг тут болеть печку нельзя юзать. Кажется, я делал тесто. Где оно? Пюре я делал. Я тесто не делал. Видимо, мука у тебя на этот раз. Томатный соус нашел.
Да, мука есть. Скинуть.
Так, как ее там крафтить?
У меня еще и пшеница есть.
Это мельницу можно. Ага, томатный соус, тесто. Тесто, вода и мука. Воды чё нету? Есть вода? Ни одной бутылки нет. Ничего.
Кинул.
Пирог с рыбой, по-моему, на интеллект. Возьми.
Hey, stop that!
Нельзя. И как крафтить теперь? Ну, раньше мы эту печь юзали, чтобы крафтить. Как крафтить теперь еду? Хоть она и красная, мы ее юзали, и нам ничего не было за это.
А сейчас?
Ну, сейчас я скрафтил, он на меня наругался. И даже не скрафтилось
Он
ничего.
тоже ругался. Не, раньше он тоже ругался.
Он ругался, если просто на печь нажимать, а если предметы на нее перетаскивать, то пофигу было. А сейчас открывается меню крафта. Я пытаюсь что-то сделать, он бузи.
You... What do you think you're doing?
Чё?
What? Does the ground turn to glue when you've been naughty around here?
Hey, stop that!
Что за говно?
Угу.
Там меня напали, я ничего не делал. Я просто поговорил с ним, он на меня начал орать, что я, мол, что-то у него ворую. Побежала стража, я говорю, вот, возьмите то, что я взял, я ничего не взял. И потом они сразу же на меня напали. Как будто я еще раз что-то спиздил.
То есть покушение на печь.
Загружай, не зря я сказал. Какая-то хуетень произошла.
Сейчас, да я кое-что проверю.
Это ты там...
Hey, stop that!
А, это ты там воруешь, я понял.
I'm stuck fast. Fate is an ice-cold mistress.
Я понял. Ладно.
То есть ты на втором этаже воруешь, а меня тут на первом набутыливают.
Да. Ну, в принципе, я могу спокойно брать, если тебе не кидать в инвентарь, но если кидать тебе в инвентарь...
Well,
как ты
Source Hunter,
покупаешь,
you
походу.
come to the right place, you have. I got every style of equipment to fit you from head to foot, if it's a trade you're after.
О, светокрест.
You say you will take me under your wing, but I see no feathers. Are you a child of the birds, as I am of the bears? And so the lonely babe was fed upon the wild mother's milk, and cast aside from humankind, he thrived among his mother's ilk. So says the wise godwolf Amira, raised the child Threes among her litter. So you see, I have good company. Threes the wolfson, and I the bear daughter. In truth, this is a relief.
Дочер.
Your world is made with rules I have not yet memorized. I am happy to have a friend in such a place.
Что свиньи говорят?
Смотри. А, бля.
Нормально. Полезный совет.
Ла-ла-ла-ла-ла. Ла-ла-ла-ла. Бачу тебя, говна.
Ну, мне всегда что-то было.
Legionnaires, these stalls are for our Legion troops. Rivellon's finest work up mighty fine appetite serving the seven.
Мне кажется, это лагерь был поменьше. Ну, как включит меня.
Сундуков поменьше было. Там, по-моему, 2 сундука было. И ключ один лежал, это наживка. Они поругают себя, типа, попался.
Oh, where's my pepper? Did it sprout legs and run away? Ah, there it is.
I'm telling you, a necromancer must be at work inside Seal. How else do you explain risen dead sprouting like mushrooms in the night?
I wouldn't venture too far out of town if I were you. Many legionnaires did so before you. Very few have returned.
To leave the city is to venture into danger. Be careful, Source Hunter. Good luck with these Sicilians, Source Hunter. They'll run you ragged if you let them.
How can the Legion serve you today, Source Hunter?
Тут книжка есть.
May the seven keep you. Now, where's my pepper?
Который
Did it
около
sprout
ворот.
legs and run away? Ah, there it is.
I wouldn't venture too far out of town if I were you. Many Legionnaires did so before you. Ahu's invention, the Stasis Blaster. Quite a sight, no? The ray can singe a zombie or skeleton to ash in a matter of seconds. These days, we Legionnaires hold a lottery to see who gets to man the things. You can bet it's no small amount easier to blast those flesh-eating monstrosities from a distance than to get within striking range. Don't ask me how the blaster works, though. I just make sure the thing's hitting its target.
Можно из баллистов вообще ебануть по мертвякам? Мы не пробовали?
Ну, надо быть в бою. Я так понимаю, тебе нужно выйти, а я постреляю.
Now, where's my pepper?
Попробуем.
Sprout legs and run away? Ah, there.
To leave the city is to venture into danger. Be careful, Source Hunter.
Rest in peace, darling.
I sincerely hope you know what you're doing, Hunter. Right, open her up, Legionnaires.
Did it sprout legs and run away? Ah,
Использовать ее 12 очков действия стоит эту катапульту.
now, where's my pepper? Did it sprout legs and run away? Ah, there it is.
Какой-то темный тоннель.
На, про это. Ебать. Он блин.
Шесть очков.
Но...
6 очков, а не 12. Тебе дойти до нее надо просто.
Ну да.
Maybe now you can learn something useful, like how to wash your underthings.
Rest in peace, darling.
Баф какой-то, ну... Приманка для смерти.
May the seven keep you. May the seven keep you. Oh, there's my baby. Darling.
Ну бывает.
Darling. Now legs and run away.
Spirits of eternal flame to my aid.
Баллисты класс. Стреляет туда, где союзники. Все время.
Ну, то есть она не наводится, да? То есть сама наводится.
Сама выбирает цели, да?
Rest in peace, darling.
Everything we do seems to fortify your abilities.
I suppose your example has inspired me to reach heights I never before envisioned.
That inspiration hardly flows one way, my friend.
Кто этих двери открывать?
Бля.
Что значит бах, блядь?
Rest in peace, darling.
Пускай валяет друг пока что.
What's that gleam?
Rest in
Looks
peace,
like that dog is
darling.
awfully agitated. Is he trying to tell me something?
Here lies Jacques, the oldest man in Sicil. Get off my grave, ye jackanapes.
I once lived a prosperous life with my husband and our happy little daughter Loney. But when Loney never recovered from the loss, and when a group of mercenaries, predators, more aptly called, came to town dangling the opportunity to annihilate those undead devils, Loney lapped up their rhetoric and joined without so much as a backward glance. She were killed less than a week after she joined. Here she lies, and here I stand, mourning the death of my last joy.
In memory of Loney, death lies on her like an untimely frost upon the
Rest
sweetest
in peace,
flower of all
darling.
the field.
Where are you?
Here lies in memory of master of philosophy. Death lies on her like an untimely frost. Sweetest flower of all the field. Here lies Jake. Please do. Here lies Jake. Please
Here
do
lies
not
David,
disturb. Who ran from the Reaper. You'll
Rest
never
in
catch
peace,
me alive.
darling.
Плотный сапог.
I'm Murphy, Jake's dog. Wow, you smell great. Have you been rolling around on dead things all day? That's my favourite hobby too.
Rest in peace, darling.
You know who I miss? Jake. Sometimes he'd just sit there being awesome. And I'd give him this look like, you smell great. And he'd give me this look like, you do too, Murphy. And he was my best friend. I came here so I could smell Jake again. He smelled great. But whatever's buried there doesn't smell like Jake at all. No, it's definitely not Jake. He was awesome. If I ever find out who killed Jake, the most awesome Jake who ever jaked, I'll bark so much! Seriously, so much! You have no idea!
Here lies Kavanagh. Will they have Sisal pie? Here lies Kavanagh. Will they have Sisal pie in the afterlife? Here lies James, as usual, the filthy fibber. Here lies Jacques. Here lies Jacques, the oldest man in Sisal. Get off my grave, you jackanapes. Here lies Kimberly. Finally. Here lies Kimberly. Finally. Killed in the line of duty. I want to go home.
Where are you, Jake?
Here lies Judith, warrior princess. Here lies Gregory, whose wife told him so. Here lies Jared. Shall I come back as an enraged spirit or a lovable prankster ghost? Here lies Patrick. You can kill me, but you'll never kill the dancer inside me.
My long-fled youth. I
Here
sailed
lies
the sea.
Catherine. I know, I was great.
Вот этот мужик, по-моему, связан с квестом на Арчиху.
На что?
На дочку мэра.
Pray, let me be forward with you, O sapling rose, O leaf of spring, for my weary mind is troubled, and would highly prize thy gentle-handed assistance, thy kind ministrations. I am but an aged elf that has seen the years parade in long succession. Gladly shall I tell you more. Will I regale thee, O whelp of men, with my tale? But not here, where the winds may steal my words. You would listen to my grievances, guide me towards untroubled realms. Oh, you are truly a wonder, O budding flower of the morn. Yet, that which I would tell you is of a rather private nature, so let us escape both the chill and the eye of public scrutiny. Hot spiced wine and a snug little room awaits us on the King Crab's first floor. Let us go there, so that we can warm our bones, yet make shiver our hearts with a tale of
Он сказал первый, написано второй.
Может, сразу зайдем. Нету неписи пока что.
So, what's the bad news? More orcs rampaging through the docks? Or if those infernal statues sent another soul flying to his death. This here's my family business. Yes, there's been a Roberts escorting stiffs into the next life since the foundation of Seal itself. They don't write epics about morticians, but I'm proud of my work nonetheless. Sad story, that. Though if I'm speaking plainly, the sentimental aspect of it all doesn't make much of an impression on an undertaker. Especially not these days, with so many laid low by the orcs and such like. I just concern myself with giving the remains a respectable exit from life. We set him to rest in the northern graveyard. Perhaps he can finally get a little peace. What about it? Didn't I just say we gave it a respectable send-off? Why are you giving me the 3rd degree? Now, if you don't mind, I'm trying to run a business here.
The death man is nervous as a squirrel. I'm certain he's hiding something.
So, what's the bad news? More orcs rampaging through the docks? Seal isn't so bad on a quiet day like this, is it?
So you're just hanging around again, are you? Waiting for what, exactly? Let us see if you can choose the finest green. Oh,
Очарование было воровским навыком преступника.
Мэру?
Let us see if you can choose the finest greens.
Aaron has as many friends as the man with many cheeses.
Meow. Meow.
A sauce hunter! Oh, what a sight for sore Sicilian eyes! Me? I live alone here in town. Used to be that my younger brother Tom and I were practically joined at the hip, but that's all changed now. Oh, he's always been something of a rascal, calling his petty hooliganism adventuring and endlessly worrying my poor mind. Oh, but of course, I've always loved that scamp to bits. For my part, I encouraged him to join the Legion. Even got him sparring with Captain Aureus now and then. But then those blasted Fabulous Five came into town. That band of... oh, I don't even know what to call them. Well, they're his heroes, and I simply couldn't prevent him from going to see them. That one meeting was all it took for Tom to run off with them on some mission to God knows where.
Ты с горничной поговорил?
Да.
Ок. Мэр.
My elf? What elf? Oh, myself. I am Cecil, Mayor of Sicil,
Вот теперь
and
наконец-то
husband of
будет
the stately
понятно,
Cecilia. I've been
что
the
он
mayor
там,
here for
что ему там
decades, and I'm
послышалось.
quite eager to see Sicil through these difficult times. Yes, very difficult times indeed. What? Oh, you mean Sicil? Very difficult times indeed. As though the death of Jake, and by source magic no less, weren't enough. We're also facing all sorts of brutish intruders. The undead have overrun all but one northern trade route, while the orcs are making a habit of savaging our beaches. That's not to mention that at the top of this whole caboodle, there's rumors of some new religious sect or cult or some such sticking its tendrils into the innocent, seven-fearing folks of Sicil. And, while we're on the subject of troubles, I myself have a private matter I'd like to bring to your attention. It involves a magic relic I rather foolishly sought. A weapon called the Staff of Pergamon. The what of what now? Oh, you're speaking gibberish. Ah, you mean the Staff of Pergamon. Yes, yes. I was expecting a shipment of weapons, and among the cargo was this very powerful, very rare staff. I managed to place the order through means somewhat, atypical to a government official. Cecil proved an old fool, though, for the merchant slated to deliver it to me has just informed me that the damn thing has gone missing. I fear it may have fallen into the wrong hands, and I wonder if you could retrieve it for me. His name is Conrad, captain of the Tide Splitter, a merchant ship still docked at the Sicil harbor. You can talk to him if you think it'd help, but I'd quite like to avoid getting the Legion involved, if you don't mind. The staff itself contains a shard of an ore, highly valued for its use in the weapons of war. I know use of the material to be forbidden, but I was desperate to do something to aid the townsfolk against the undead. Jake, murdered? Oh, yes. Yes, now I recall. Indeed. I could hardly believe it myself. The Council and I have certainly had our differences over the years, but old squabbles evaporate under such circumstances. Most of the townsfolk are certain Jake's wife Esmeralda is responsible. In fact, the Legion have taken her into protective custody to keep her safe from the mob. As you can imagine, I've known Esmeralda for years. That business between her and the Duke of Ferrol was always a bit, suggestive. But I've never had cause to suspect her of violence. Still, one never knows for sure. An all right bloke, apart from all this Esmeralda nonsense. The whole town knows the only goal of his business trips to Sicil is to spend a night or two at the King Crab Inn with Mrs. Counselor. What? The undead? Yes, for the past 2 years, those blasted skeletons have all but suffocated this city. With all but one trade route overrun, Sicil's once torrential commerce has slowed to a pathetic trickle. Well, I do believe that's something your parents ought to have discussed with you long ago, Source Hunter. But I suppose if you really don't know, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least explain the basics. Ah, you see, when a lady and a fellow find each other rather nice, well, rather more than nice, they occasionally, well, Oh, this is nonsense. I'm the mayor for the 7th sake. I can't be bothered to chat all day about the birds and the bees when Sicil's under siege by orcs, undead, and cultists. That depends. What kind of berries are you interested in, exactly? Ah, the library. Yes, yes, you must have a visit. It's the gem of Sicil. Would you like to have a look? I'll escort you upstairs myself. Please yourself. Let me know if you change your mind. You won't regret it. No, all my clothes are in fine condition, thanks. I've been going to the same tailor for years.
А, типа Sailors, да?
Угу. Нормально.
Натянуть морячков.
Maxine? What in heaven's name are you? Oh, you mean the mongrel that's always skulking about the place. I spent months trying to teach that worthless hound how to fetch, and it sat through every lesson looking at me as if I were an idiot. Man's best friend, my eye. I've always been more fond of cats myself.
Нормально озвучиваю. Мне зашло.
That depends. What kind? Ah, the library. Yeah, marvelous. Follow me then. What? Oh, yes. This library is the jewel in Sicil's crown, the beacon of culture and learning in our fair city. My Victoria has every volume you could possibly imagine, and she's got every speck of information about this place packed into her brilliant brain. Yes, Victoria's come a long way from that little bundle of claws and teeth I adopted so long ago. Ah, it brings a tear to my eye just seeing her here among her beloved books. What? Oh, yes. I'll be on my way back downstairs now. Please introduce yourself. I know Victoria will be happy to make your acquaintance.
The lesser key of Sadakandras. What
Princess
nonsense.
Buttercup with the blushing bottom.
The Encyclopedia Demonium. I
Esmeralda
know
does
it by
have a
heart.
propensity for all things naughty, hasn't she?
Тишина в библиотеке. Тишина в библиотеке.
Demonology for dumbbells. Ugh. I need something more advanced. The Encyclopedia Demonium. I know
Volume
it
1,
by heart.
Volume 2. But where's the third one gone? Shatsu. Sometimes I think these books sprout little legs in the night. In the name of Amun-Hor, I bid thee Tujda Geta Hal. Be welcome, human. My library is yours, as I hope your friendship is mine.
I know
I'm
it by
Victoria, daughter of Mayor Cecil. Oh, I know what you're thinking. The likeness isn't exactly striking, is it? When I was very young, you see, I must have been cast out by my tribe, for I was found in a wicker basket floating past Sicile toward the sea.
Demonum. And the first edition, too.
The
Most
fisherman who found me would have drowned me on the spot, for I am an orc after all. But praise be Amun-Hor, dear Cecil was among the gathered crowd, and he took pity on the exiled infant that chance had put in his way. He raised me like I was his own, this kindest of souls, taught me the language of men, their customs and their letters. Thus, I became the city's librarian, a position I uphold with no small diligence and pride. Indeed you may. The wisdom I here hoard is yours to peruse and even take with you. All I can ask is that you return the books you borrow, so that others may enjoy them too.
Most promising.
Язык феи еще тоже, по-моему, книжка-то нужная.
The lesser
Какой,
key
блядь, она
of
1200
Sadakandras.
стоит?
Ugh, what nonsense. The Encyclopedia Demonium. I know it by heart.
The knight in see-through armor? Princess Buttercup with the blushing bottom? Stentek.
No, this isn't the
Esmeralda
grimoire
does have a
I'm looking
propensity
for.
for all things naughty, hasn't she? Kejdenor. A brief history of sorcery still hasn't been returned. Teleron will have to pay yet another fine. The knight in see-through armor, Princess Buttercup with the blushing bottom, Stentiken. Esmeralda does have a propensity for all things naughty, hasn't she? Kajdenor. A brief history.
Why, simply because you hunt Source and I, Jehan, hunt demons. You are aware, of course, that quite often both of these pests frequent the same shadowy pools of infamy. Now, I hate what I hunt, but I respect its cunning. Should I not, I'd have been decimated, body and soul, long since. This is a sentiment I'm quite certain you must recognize. Let there be strength in cunning, yes, but also in numbers. The calculus of wizardry I offer you, the might of the magician's mastermind. On one condition, that on our joint travels we will never deal with demonic entities, no matter how tempting their propositions. Give me your word on this, and I'll weave you spells.
Princess Buttercup with the blushing bottom, Stentiken. Esmeralda does have a propensity.
Very
for
well.
all things.
There will be no deals with demons.
Agreed. Nothing good ever came from bargaining with those devils anyway.
Most gratifying. I see you are firm of purpose and thereby ready to descend. Descend into the madness that is sorcery, into the depths where demons dance. Gladly shall I follow you into the abyss. Onward, blood and triumph await. And undoubtedly I have answers. I am not from any place anymore. I go where my quest leads me. Besides, the name would mean nothing to you. The glorious city in the glorious kingdom where I was born. I remember them well, the sandstone castles, hued like the very sun that batters their battlements without rest. I can see them still. The fountained gardens and halls of pearl-colored marble inlaid with gemstones set in shapes of plants and beasts.
Стойку точности понерфили.
Yes, I can see them still. Though when I try to focus on their details, like mirages, they dissolve upon approach. Time, it frays the foundations of memory. For 1,000 reasons, and for one especial. The 1,000 obvious ones are list with pleasure. The special one, that is my secret to keep. Hunter, I could find you cross-dressed under the spell of a dominant goblin, yet when next we'd meet there'd be no questions asked. I have my secrets. Undoubtedly, you have yours. They are ours to keep. 1. Their scourge taints the natural world. 2. Their machinations irreversibly corrupt minds. 3. Their perversions seek to end all beauty. 4. Their schemes unhinge the fabric of space and time. 5. Their presence distorts all intrinsic harmony. Do you now? Yours is this mistake to make, Hunter, and yours is the opportunity to set it right. Until then, I
Прошло
shall be
несколько
in the
часов.
King Crab.
Вы пожалели, Джан, вали нахуй.
Who placed this book here?
Книжки
A volume
полутать.
of poetry among novels? Urak! What mayhem!
Аж разрешила трогать некоторые. Смотри, какие
Cash
можно,
Dinor.
какие нельзя.
A brief history of sorcery still hasn't been returned. Celeron will have to pay yet another fine.
Смотри, какой я быстрый. Ух.
What's that gleam?
The
Volume
7
one,
grand
volume
abundance.
two. But where's the third one gone? Shatsu. Sometimes I think these books sprout little legs in the night. The knight in see-through armor, Princess Buttercup with the blushing bottom, Stenticken. Esmeralda does have a propensity for all things naughty, hasn't she? The knight in see-through armor, Princess Buttercup with the blushing bottom, Stenticken. Esmeralda does have a propensity for all things naughty, hasn't she? Fine. Who placed this book here? A volume of poetry among novels? Urak! What mayhem!
Сборник анекдотов.
The knight in see-through armor, Princess
Забыл уж
Buttercup
про них
with the
всех.
blushing bottom, Stenticken. Esmeralda does have a propensity for all things naughty, hasn't she? Dinor. A brief history of sorcery still hasn't been returned. Celeron will have to pay yet another fine.
С крысы меня лез бить.
Volume 1, Volume 2. But where's the third one gone? Oh, sometimes I think these books sprout little legs in the night. The knight in see-through armor, Princess Buttercup with the blushing bottom, Stenticken. Esmeralda does have a propensity for all things naughty, hasn't she? Dinor. A brief history of sorcery still hasn't been returned. Celeron will have to pay yet another fine. Who placed this book here? A volume of poetry among novels? Urak! What mayhem! Dinor. A brief history of sorcery still hasn't been returned. Celeron will have to pay yet another fine.
Ща приду.
Kaj Dinor. The brief history of sorcery still hasn't been returned. Teleron will have to pay yet another fine. The night.
Тут.
Not in the mood for cheese. That excuse is more holes than a slice of this fine Gorman bear.
Ага, книжки нужны для квеста с ником. Этого я не помню. ФК?
Not in the mood for cheese. That excuse is more holes than a slice of this fine Gorman bear.
Барам.
Книжки нужны для квеста.
Какие?
Ну, открой квесты.
That excuse is more holes than a slice of this fine Gorman bear.
Да, не помню такого.
You there! A moment of your indulgence, if you please. You are the source hunter, are you not? The hero the whole of Sightseal is abuzz about. The talk of the town. The juiciest grape on the grapevine. Such a pleasure to meet you. A delight. No, scratch that. It is so much more than a delight. It is an intervention of fate. Yes, that's it. Fate has put me on this very spot so I may tell you all about a most intriguing opportunity indeed. Mendius, at your service. What is my profession? Well, I'll tell you what it used to be, and that is a man of medicine. But what does a man of medicine do but mend what has first been broken? I saved lives, to be sure, but today I change them. Oh, it's not merely an opportunity. It is a once-in-a-lifetime chance to become better. To become the full extent of the promise that is locked inside of each and every one of us. So first of all, let me ask you this question. Do you like adventure?
Let's see. Halibut, sheep's cheese, tomatoes.
Of course I do. How could someone in my profession not?
Quite right. Adventure is what we live for.
See here. You and I share the same passion. I never doubted it for a moment. The thrill of walking the unbeaten path. The rush of finding yourself in a goblin ambush, knowing you'll prevail nonetheless. Too bad your line of work comes with such measly recompense. Am I right? The wage of a mere soldier. Now, between you and me, tell me truthfully, don't you sometimes wish you could earn more?
So you're just hanging around the inn, are you? Waiting for
Riches do not interest me much, actually.
Nor me. Wealth is but vanity.
Oh, but I know you're
Ты просто
just
все время за мной
being
повторяешь.
bashful. I bet that in your heart of hearts, your eyes water with joy when you discover yet another treasure during your travels. Even so, my friend, matters of a pecuniary nature aside, what is life without variety, without spice? To be a source hunter must get frightfully dreary sometimes. Am I right? All those orders. Investigate this, retrieve that, and at the end of the day, what do you have to show for it? Wouldn't you prefer to call your own shots? Be your own boss?
Let's see. Halibut, sheep's cheese, tomato.
There is no shame in following directives if your masters are worthy of your trust.
So you're just hanging around the inn, are you?
You'll always stay menial with that attitude. Just what those trusted masters want.
You disagree with one another. But that proves you are firm-willed, that you have the minds of independence, not dependence. Admit, life's too short to spend it doing someone else's bidding. Am I right? Of course I am. And I could help you attain the dream, enact the change you deserve. And that is exactly why I am here. Why fate has put me right by the door to the King Crab, so that I could meet you and tell you about the marvel that is the Fabulous Five. The invitation to join is yours. Grab it. Ah, the Fabulous Five. How I enjoy simply saying the words that describe the most illustrious and celebrated adventurers' guild in Riverlon. Our mission, to better the world. Our mantra, to better ourselves as we do so. To realize our dreams and cleanse our souls. You'd like nothing more than to enlist, wouldn't you? Of course you would. And you can. Of course, if you still have questions, I shall answer them to the best of my abilities. But if not, how about we get started? What a gem of a question. Straight as an arrow, sharp as a switchblade. Most meritorious of you. Now then, to join the Fabulous Five is to join a fellowship, to join a fraternity, a sorority, a community. The title of Knight is bestowed upon you the moment you sign our waiver, and so it all begins. I shall be the one to give you your first contracts, and once the job is done, I shall see to it you get your fair share of the reward. Of course, should you spread the word, should you propagate the gospel of the Fabulous Five and thereby draw new knights into our fellowship, you will get a share of the reward from their contracts too. Isn't that wonderful? By now, the genial glow of the fellowship must have warmed your heart. It has, hasn't it? But did I say fellowship? I mean family. For like a family, we support one another, cheer one another, see each other through thick and thin, partake in glory and defeat. Work hard, fulfill contracts, enlist new knights, and swiftly shall you rise through the ranks. You will better yourself. You will better Riverlon. You will make the stars shine all the brighter. and you'll get fabulously wealthy in the process. What's not to like? Of course, of course, of course! All you need to do is sign this waiver, and just like that, snap! You're part of the family. All I need...
Waiting for what, exactly?
This Fabulous Five business sounds too good to be true. I'm going to pass.
Rather foolish to pass up on such a lucrative opportunity, don't you think?
Ачивка уже есть вроде.
Конечно.
All right, we'll do it your way.
Marvelous! Magnificent! Oh, but what am I saying? Fabulous is the word. You may not realize it yet, but your fortunes, your very life is about to change for the better. So let us not dilly-dally. To business! Your first assignment is ready and waiting if you're ready and willing. What more is there to say, my friend? You are one of us now. A proud member of the even prouder Fabulous Five. Glory be, for glory has found you. Oh, it's a pretty straightforward task, this one. Now, in this town dwells a wizard. Ahu is his name, and he's a frightful eccentric. Scientific type, you know the kind. Favors reason over faith and all that. Not Fabulous Five material, him. His experimental weapons may keep a couple of skeletons away from the city, but many of his other researches failed, malfunctioned with tragic consequences. One of them was a big lumbering apparatus, a frightful automaton shaped like a giant made of steel. It was supposed to crush the undead by the dozens, piloted as it was by a trained legionnaire. But you can guess what happened. Did it become sentient? Was it cursed? Whatever the cause, the thing relieved itself of its pilot and headed north towards a network of caves. Now ask yourself, what if it comes back? It could smash the city walls and claim 100 lives before being subdued. Luckily, there are those in this world who belong to the Fabulous Five. The braves who eat such monstrosities for breakfast. Go, my friend. Find this wizard's abomination and claim your just reward from Mayor Cecil in the name of our hallowed guild. Easy money. They call the undead a problem, my friend, but those who know the ways of the Fabulous Five see no problems. They see opportunities. An enterprising spirit can wrench riches from cold dead rocks, or from cold dead full stop. Who? Tom? Doesn't ring a bell. Oh, hold on. Yes, of course, Tom. One of our most recent additions to the Fellowship. Brave kid, smart as a tack. He'll prove to be a wonderful addition to the family yet.
Моряков еще вроде куда-то можно пристроить.
Угу. Ну, спросить-то можно было просто.
Ну, по-моему, он их сразу заберет.
Ну, давай чекнем.
You think you can speak that way to us? Well, suffice to say it, I've got my eye on you, Barry.
Halibut, cheese, tomatoes.
Ну да, и тут будут разные варианты, морякам можно будет просто рассказать, куда пойти. Ну, может тут что поменяли, конечно.
Back, demon! Back, or I'll... Well, what's this? Oh, Medora, you lummox. 1,000 pardons, comrade. This old bear's edgier than a dodecahedron these days. I'll tell you, it sure does me good to set eyes on another of our order. From Academy West, aren't you? Give Captain Wartruce my regards next time you see him. Heavens, hornets! That's quite a story, comrade. And come to think of it, one that might concern you. See, I'm here on, well, let's call it a loan from a town to the north of here. Hunter's Edge by name. There's been an attack there, comrade. Orcs. Not your run-of-the-mill savages either, but ones who've taken dark magic to new heights.
I doubt you could even
Начала из последнего
old
года.
friend.
What they want in Hunter's Edge, I can't say, but it's my responsibility to send them packing. Preferably with their horns in their suitcases and a knee-knocking fear of ever crossing paths with a sauce hunter again. I came south seeking the Legion's help, only to find it tied here in Sicil. They don't have a spare soldier to send northward, and even in my finest form, I can't clear the place of that many orcs without backup. You wouldn't. I trained up in Academy North, after all. We don't cross paths with you Westies all that often, but it's always a pleasure when we do. Medora's the name. Retired, or so the Order keeps trying to tell me, but never out of commission. My hand to your cause and my sword at your side. By the skin of my teeth, comrade. The savages were rounding up villagers when one of them activated a tripwire on our village wizard's property. Fortunately for me, that particular wizard has a penchant for things that go boom in the night. I managed to wrench free of my captor's grip and flee toward the forest. He pursued me for miles, but I'd lost him before I made it into the Sicil hinterlands. Well, comrade, I hadn't thought of it till you tapped my shoulder just now. I need a contingent I can trust if I'm to take back the town. And the way I see it, you could use reinforcements here in town. I've been scouting Sicil for some time now, and I believe I've sussed out sufficient intel to help solve the murder of the Counselor. With our minds and swords in tandem, we'll make short work of the perpetrator. More than I'd hoped, comrade. I don't know what in tarnation's gotten into the townsfolk here, but there's enough dark magic running roughshod to topple a small mountain. There's Mayor Cecil's doings for one, and the mysteries of our master Thalron for another. And on top of it all, the feline menace is lurking at every hearth and shadow. Now don't get me wrong, I think the mayor's a decent sort, even if he can't hear farther than the tip of his own nose. But from what I've heard whispered around the docks, the old guy's gotten himself mixed up in something not quite on this side of the law. I suspect an illegal sauce artifact or substance is at the root of it, but exactly what or who's given it to him, I can't say. And since I haven't technically been assigned to Sicil, I don't have the authority to interrogate him. Fella seems like a humble doctor, but I bet my sword he's dealing in something darker than splints and tonics. A loose-lipped fishmonger let slip that she'd seen our good doctor scale the city wall on 2 separate occasions, well past midnight each time. What business could he have among the undead? Hardly the habit of an innocent healer, I'd say. You mean you don't already know, comrade? Their kind can see in the dark. It ain't natural. Well, you know the old expression. 2's a tea party, 3's an invasion. I know this place like the back of my hand by now, and the orcs up north will be short work for a trained-up trio of sauce hunters.
Do I seem like the sort who concerns myself with such things?
That's the spirit. Listen closely now. Do you hear it? That's the sound of every orc and sorcerer in a 100-mile radius shaking in his wee boots. Careful, comrade. I think I sense a sorcerer in yonder shadows. Ask away, my friend, ask away. Always helps to know a thing or two about who's covering your back against the gnashing hordes, eh? More than I'd hoped, comrade. I don't know what in tarnation's gotten into the townsfolk here, but there's enough dark magic running roughshod to topple a small mountain.
Arcane secrets.
There's
The likes of
Mayor
which
Cecil's doings, for one. And the mystery, and on top of it all, the feline menace is lurking at every hearth and shadow. You mean you don't already know, comrade? Their kind can see in the dark.
Comrade.
It ain't natural.
Comrade.
Pointless chatter with strangers does so thrill me. How did you know? Please continue interrupting my drink if you'd be so kind. How curious of you to show interest in a lonesome stranger at the bar. Let me answer by saying that who I am is hardly any of your business, and anyone with an ounce of tact would have known that already. So you've wrangled a position in the Fabulous Five, have you? I'm fairly brimming with enthusiasm at the prospect of calling you a partner. You'd better leave me undisturbed, or my emotions might just bubble over. You've been sent after Ahu's insane robot, I understand. Do you imagine that while you're busy being crushed by that abomination, I'll manage to get through a whole drink, distraction-free?
You'll be concerned enough when you realize that reward money won't be lining your pockets.
Me? You mean you don't recognize me? Well, you must live under a very large, very heavy rock, for I'm the finest wizard in Rivellon. Yes, that is strange. Strange indeed. But it's a strange world we live in, isn't it? A strange and magical world, full of wonders and regionis regentum.
The likes of which I doubt you could even fathom, old friend.
You'll find out. You'll find out indeed. If I'm as good as they say I am, you'll have sprouted a pair of long purple ears in the next hour. Ah, how I do love a tasty aubergine in summertime.
Come now, Alistair. Surely you've met your match once or twice.
Ha! The closest I've come to my match is when I linger over long while lighting my pipe.
Oh, careful now. Your head's growing more swollen and
Been at the King Crab nearly 10 years now, personally. Seen every character you can imagine, from bums to wizards, passed through these doors for a pint and a place to rest. I think I'm one of the last folks to hear him alive. That awful scream has been ringing in my ears ever since. And with the room where it all happened still under quarantine, we've a constant reminder of exactly what happened. Though that's the question, isn't it? What exactly did happen? We all thought it was Esmeralda who checked into that room, and the Duke that followed her in. I was washing up and nudging the last of the lushes out of the door when a cloaked woman rushed in right past me. I never got a good look at her, damn my eyes, but I figured the way she disappeared that she was visiting one of the lodgers. Lucky for the perpetrators, I was rinsing bottles in the back when the terrible deed took place and saw nothing more. I'm not proud to say I ducked under the counter and damn well stayed there till I heard Ivad fling that door open, but I was paralyzed with fright.
Tell me, Alistair, have you ever had the fortune of challenging the fabled wizard of Hunter's Edge?
Fortune? Ha! He should be so lucky as to be defeated by Alistair the Great.
They say he's privy to ancient and arcane secrets. The likes of
The name's
which I
Ivad.
doubt.
Pleased to make your acquaintance. I've been offering the weary travellers of Sicil drink and rest for nearly 2 decades now, but the King Crab's older than that by a long shot. All you see before you is the manifestation of my great-grandpappy Horatius Dungeness's noble vision. Beer and naps for everyone, no questions asked. Well, between you and me, things have been rather slow since the, incident. But with spirits high and liquor flowing like it is tonight, it seems the crab may just come out of that pinch. Psst. Mind if we keep our voices down over that sensitive subject? Death and dark magic ain't exactly great for business, you know. That room where it happened, it was rented to a certain woman, though I regret to say I can't say exactly who. This inn isn't in the business of asking many questions, if you know what I mean. She came heavily cloaked, but paid the full sum in advance. I was used to such transactions after many similar concerning a certain Esmeralda. Figured this were just more at same. I saw one other figure go into the room that night. Someone tall, built broad like a man, but shrouded the same as she. Again, standard practice for Mrs. Counselor and her visitors. I was startled awake by a horrendous hubbub shortly after midnight. I jumped up and grabbed me grandpappy's machete, bleary-eyed and awash in fright. By the time I burst into that room, it was horribly silent. There was only Jake on the floor, dead, surrounded by what may as well have been a battlefield. Whoever done it has escaped through the window, but I saw nary a soul when I looked out. You can bet I hightailed it to the Legion barracks faster than a jackrabbit after that. Councillor Jake, that poor man. I knew too much about his affairs, you know. Never figured it my business to say anything, but after all that's happened, I wonder if that weren't a grave mistake. Esmeralda's longest-standing lover has the audacity to remain lodged at this very inn, you know. He's called the Duke of Ferrell, a high title for a low man. If you haven't yet asked him about Esmeralda, I'd recommend it. 3 hopeless sailors. Truly wish I could help you, but I'm barely keeping afloat as it is.
What do you mean, not familiar? You expect me to believe you've never heard of Alistair the Almighty? Why, I'm only the most famous wizard this side of the distance, although it'd be worth checking the other side too, just in case. And don't forget, I'm the most eminent member of the Fabulous Five to boot. Surely you already know we've been voted the most influential adventurers guild by SideQuest Monthly, 3 years running. Well, well, you're far from my caliber, but who isn't? It's good you're eager, but let me give you a word of warning. Aim for my spots, and your career in the Fabulous Five will meet a most unsavory end. Ah, you'll be dealing with Ahu's little abomination, will you? I'd go myself, but I'd fear I'd end the fight before anyone else got in their licks. If I don't leave a few crumbs for the newbies once in a while, they'll accuse me of stealing the spotlight, you see. Those nasty beasts are hardly worth my time, though I suppose I'll step in if none of the recruits manage to prove adept enough to handle a few skeletons.
Tall as an elf, strong as an orc, but your face, quite classical, isn't it? Statuesque, some might say. Yes, smooth and sturdy as marble, yet fine as a chisel's edge. And my word, what passion burns from your eyes. Please forgive my being forward, but I dare say, can it be? You're exactly the person I've been searching for. I am Anna, jewel in the crown that is the Fabulous Five. I've cut 1,000 throats, and baked 1,000 bread rolls, stolen the crown jewels of the Queen of Arata, and, with my pockets full, helped her reach enlightenment. When the day comes that I die, the gods will evacuate the heavens to make space for my formidable collection of designer slippers. I contain multitudes, you see. and I am utterly replete. Except that, much to my dismay, I had as yet to find the companion to whom my heart so clearly calls. But then, Source Hunter, you wandered into this tavern, and I am most certain that that companion is you. That I have. For nearly a lifetime, it seems. Well, I'm sure you must know what I mean. Like existence itself lacked a significant component? Like if you could only fill a certain void, could connect with the right body, the right spirit. Together you could uncover new and thrilling vistas. I believe I have found that component, that body, that spirit within you, Source Hunter. Come, if ever we are to be united, we must truly entwine our fates. We must link our causes forevermore. Yes, you must join the Fabulous Five right away, as soon as time permits. Together, as a team, we'll explore the boundless realm before us. We'll uncover fate, inch by inch. So you've joined up. You've sworn to share in our adversity and our bounty alike. Oh, you've made my heart soar. I can finally offer you our finest adventuring equipment at fantastic in-house rates. Come now, let's trade. Well, you must be thrilled to find yourself a member of a team so widely renowned for its valor and skill. And you must be even more curious about how you yourself can suit up to face such enemies as a member of the Fabulous Five must face. Well, never fear. I have everything you need.
И сказать, что у тебя, блядь, все дешево, конечно, ну ладно.
I hear you've been tasked with taking out that crazed robot in the northern cave. I'm sure you'd like to equip yourself with the finest possible accoutrement, wouldn't you? Come, come, I have everything you need. Oh, darling, that was so long ago now. Who can remember who said what after all this time? What matters is the here and now. And in this moment, I promise to give you the best deals on adventuring equipment you'll find in all Sicil. Well, you are a member of the eminent Fabulous Five, after all. Come now, Alistair. Surely you've met your match once or twice.
Ha! The closest I've come to my match is when I linger over long while lighting my pipe.
Oh, careful now. Your head's grown more swollen than Saffron's,
I
dare
am
say.
Unsinkable Sam. At least that's what they call me around here. Used to be a ship's cat, but the clipper I was on sank, and I was the only one to wrestle himself free from the waves. The people here were kind and took me in. Been the king crab's foremost patron ever since. A magnificent ship she was. Used to belong to a pirate, I was told. Unlike me, she didn't prove to be unsinkable, though. We hit the cliffs right neath the lighthouse. Not very apt a name for that building, I must say, for no light was shining from it.
With such things.
The moment I hit the water, I writhed around like I would on a hot tin roof. By some miracle, I managed to reach the beach, covered in kelp and smelling worse than a fish's funeral parlor. But I was alive, and that was more than anybody else could say. So I was. What friends I had. They drowned alongside the rats I used to hunt in the galley. And there I was, all alone. Not that I have it bad here, mind you. I've milk and fish aplenty. Most folks will pet me kindly, and when one of the village girls holds me tight against her ample bosom, I purr up a storm. But I do long for a companion of my own kind, and in that regard, there is no one like Maxine. Maxine, the mayor's darling pet. So gentle, so fair a feline. The grace of her whiskers, the subtle palette of dyes in her sable coat. She's one of a kind, that cat. She likes me. I know she does. But when I declare my love, she backs away. I don't know why. I have serenaded her and braved many a bucket of water for my efforts. But for some reason, she is not to be swayed. By all means. People make a fuss about them because they endanger the lands around the city. They never bother me when I'm out for my monthly walk, though. But still, I do detest them. I mean, they're so unnatural, aren't they? Cats can have 9 lives, but humans are only entitled to 1. Oh, don't mention orcs to me. Worse than dogs, that lot. Sank Walrus Willie's boat right from under him. Best anchovy fisher in the world he was. A loss to us all.
That purring sound. Mind control vibrations, I'm sure. Don't be seduced, comrades.
Do I seem like the sort who concerns myself with such I didn't mean to frighten you.
А это было?
Я вот не помню. Мы эти...
Интеракция,
Мы
блядь.
в прошлый раз мы их же брали, я что-то не помню, чтобы это было. А, мы с животными не разговаривали, наверное, просто. Или нет? Подожди. Нет, у тебя был.
Был. Мы сделали квестик, доделывали точнее.
Have you ever had the fortune of challenging the fabled wizard of Hunter's Edge?
Нет, я имею в виду самый последний раз.
Ну да.
They say he's
Мы
privy to
с животными сделали, когда
likes of
игру
which I
прошли до
doubt you
конца.
could even fathom, old friend.
Ну, я потому что я талант брал.
Окей.
Yes, she and I have a history. That's hardly a secret anymore. I quite doubt it was even a secret from Jake while he lived. As easy as it would be to pin suspicions on Esmeralda or I assure you that the affair was never so steamy and sordid as the busybodies around town make it out to be. Jake and Esmeralda had no great affection for each other. He had his interests, she had hers, and there was little passion left between them. Certainly not enough to fuel a murder. It's very tragic news. I won't posture and say that the Counselor and I were anything near allies, but I truly never wish the man harm. Whatever happened to that troop of eager imbeciles we sent to the northern cave?
Do I seem like the sort who concerns myself with such things?
You'll be concerned enough when you realize that reward money won't be lining your pockets.
What's in a name, dear friend? For we all begin equal in the conduit's eyes, and only through great deeds may enter into her inner ring. You mean you haven't heard? Oh, what fortune that I may share the goddess's salvation with one who has, as yet, been
А эту
lost.
стойку бафнули.
Steel yourself, friend, for your mortal spirit could be forever transformed from this moment forth. The conduit, our link to the goddess herself, has given us a special gift, and the gift is thus. By following her instructions and becoming initiated into the one way, we can each of us live on for a span greater than the number of stars that twinkle within the goddess's right eye. She came from on high to we mortals and showed us the path to the goddess, where all living souls are naturally inclined. She showed us that injury and malady need not mark the end of life, but that through her methods we could ascend to greater life in service of the goddess. Ah, for this hallowed information, you must seek an immaculate chapel.
Go north, friend, through the forest and into the town of Silverglen, where all may be revealed. There, among her followers and friends, dwells the goddess's ecstasy, her one way. Go on the path to the righteous, my friend. Forget not that the conduit has great plans for you.
He says he's an immaculate. But I thought they'd been banished after the death of the Source King.
Immaculate. Haven't heard of their kind, but I don't like the sound of them.
Бочка некликабельная.
Кошмар. Вон второй этаж сначала.
By the filed teeth.
С этим желанником убийцы будем. Или потом.
Rawr! That is, how can I help you, my friend?
The hunters go a-stalking in the night. By the needles of the million bleeder, they'll end it all in blood!
Soon the last will be beaten. Beaten like the anvil of Grog, the torturer. All hail Grog! All hail his hot-steeled instruments.
That I am. I have spent more of my life on the road travelling alongside great caravans than I have in any given place in Rivellon. All of this earth is my home, for a few days or even but a few hours at a time, that is. You wouldn't believe some of the things I have seen. Oh yes, a city besieged by the dead isn't even remotely special to me. All the better that it isn't, for you and for me. Because outlandish events lead to outlandish wares. You have seen them, have you not? Is anything amiss? A punch-on, perhaps, yes. I have the blood of sorcerers in my veins, and between you and me, the blood of sorcerers too. The power of sorcery is so very alluring, you know. But let us change topics. For should hunters catch a whiff of my inclinations, they wouldn't hesitate to kill me where I stand.
All hail his hot-steeled instruments.
You should be more careful, madam. I am a hunter, but as luck would have it, I'm not a zealot.
And neither am I.
Отличаюсь фанатизмом,
Be
а черта
advised,
стоит
though,
фанатизм.
not to give in to your inclinations. Other hunters may not be so forgiving.
Но все равно не работает. Это видимо, работает, когда ты только соло играешь.
Понятно.
Comes a creeping for you, Victoria!
Ебать, он орёт. Но как бы я все равно отыгрывал. Смысл-то? Не отыгрывать в РПГ.
Gods have mercy. I talked openly about sorcery in front of a source hunter. What a fool I am. Thank you, oh compassionate soul that you are, to treat me so leniently. I never have and never will really dabble in sorcery. On that you have my word. On my life, I swear it. No need to worry, Source Hunter dearest. You'll find no sorcery here, only honest to God's witchcraft. How gratifying to see you return. You are quickly becoming my favorite customer.
By the needles of the million bleeder, they'll end it all in blood. My name is Eglandir Twilsalanar, elf of the House of Gandavum, the slaughtered House of Gandavum. But by the twin blades of the Shadow Vixen, I shall have my revenge. The walls of memory are stained with blood, and I would see them bloodier still. The game, yes! A game of blood and brutality, of death.
Я знаю одну принцесску, которую зовут Эми, она называет себя пожестче.
But, like the serpentine stalker hisses before the stab, hush now, darkness, darling, hush, hush, and listen to my tale. The elves of Gandavum. They lived in peace. Oh, yes. But one night, when the moon had hid her face, the orcs of the tribe of Kazuldagar beset our city. They cooked and ate and burned every last one of us. The light of dawn never saw an elf of Gandavum no more. All undone. Every last one of us. Except for me, the midnight rambler, away from the city. I was very old back then already, though indeed I whisper of many years hence. But death shall not find me. Oh no, not until every beast of Kazuldagar has been bled. I may be frail, a withered grey, but the wealth of kings is mine. Countless assassins have ministered to the vengeance that is my want, and now is almost over. By Kala, Lady of the Last Gaze, I swear it is almost done. Only the very last one of the Kazuldagar still eludes me. The crowning kill that would seal its fate and mine alike.
Провожающий последний путь. Фрирен смотрел?
Кого?
Фрирен. Провожающий в последний путь.
Вряд ли.
Охуенное аниме. Вот как раз вчера должна была последняя серия выйти. Очень советую. А половинку посмотрел. Огонь.
И посмотрю.
I have tracked her down by the curse of the spine spear I have. She does not know her ill-shapen sun is setting fast. Color the dusk red, O sword of youth. Bloody the day with the bramble sap that runs through the veins of Victoria. Bring me the amulet that clings to her flesh, soon to fade. And yours shall be the bounty of vindication. Mine shall be its sanguine satisfaction after long, long last. Yes, Victoria. She is the one whose heart must be held in hand. The heart around which the fingers of that hand must clench and tighten until its choking flesh bulges with blood and its beat slowly breaks. The orcs of Gazuldagar, they knew my name. Oh yes, by the bite of the roving rattler, they knew my design. And so they sought to save their last, an infant, she who was to be queen. To no avail, oh no. Years, how many I know not. Years I searched, and now she has been found. Her name is that of a woman, her employment that of a civilized being. But by the fork of Barbara Man-Eater, she is nothing but an orc, a cyst of nature, one of a misbegotten litter dragged into life from the tumoured womb of a filthy, coarse-haired beast that was humped like a dog in the darkness of a stinking hollow.
Жестко.
Victoria, librarian, daughter, adopted child of Cecil, Mayor of Sicile. There is bloodlust in you. I can feel it. Let it out. Set it free. Undo the last of the Kazuldagar. By the breasts of Sishara Goatsucker, give me my revenge!
Жестко.
That was quite the radical change we witnessed. I never would have thought that the benign old man we met outside would turn out to be a vengeance-driven aficionado of assassins.
The hunters?
He is as much a savage as those orcs. And how is Victoria guilty of her tribe's crime if she was but a babe at the time?
End it all in blood!
Indeed. Victoria probably doesn't even know about her past, and yet she's on a, let's call him eccentrics, hit list.
Норм.
Soon the last will be beaten. Beaten like the anvil of Grog, the torturer. All hail, Grog! All hail his hot-steeled... Here I wait for thee in the dark. But the stab shall bring the light. Minister to death. Yes, yes. Have you made the orc feel the...
News.
What? What happened? Is this a dream?
I don't think so. That stone, somehow it sent us flying into the stars.
Что-то это по-другому.
Terrible, terrible! It will consume us all!
Now is not the time for that.
Ще 5 сек.
Тоже зачем?
Тут.
Perhaps my newfound comrade, but that is hardly our chiefest concern. We stand on a tiny vestige of space and time, and the ground is fast shrinking beneath our feet. It's good you appeared, however you did it, precisely when and where you did, or you might have found yourself free floating in empty space. Oh, but I suppose I should make a proper introduction. Zixax the historian at your service. It is my job to record all that was and is, and hopefully all that is to be. What am I doing here? Attempting to avert disaster, of course. Attempting to prevent all that is from disappearing. Tell me, friend, when I mentioned that this place is the end of time, did your heart quicken and your stomach drop? If not, they should have. Time ought to have no end at all. Indeed, I can think of no worse nightmare for a chronicler such as myself. But something totally, utterly terrible has happened. Show, don't tell, I always say. So go, peer through yonder looking lens, and feast your soon-to-be terrified eyes on the darkness that is approaching.
I think that imp may be quite mad.
Then we had better appease him and have a look through the looking lens.
This, the portal, it's... The portal has become active. Fantastic, astounding. Onward we should go. You, dear stranger, you must be the key. Something about your presence here is causing the end of time to grow. the true end itself to move further away. Those torches, a light! This portal active once more! It cannot be coincidence. Ah, though I cannot say for certain, if it is what I believe, then our prayers might well be answered. In fact, every last question that ever plagues your noggin might well be answered, for I believe what lies beyond this portal is nothing other than... But why spoil the mystery? As soon as we leap through, we'll find out for certain. Goodness me, how right you are. There's so much to take in, I'd nearly forgotten. And what you saw has been haunting my mind since I first discovered it. It is the void itself. The dragon that is devouring creation. When I speak of the end of time, this is exactly what I mean. I can't say for sure where it came from, how or why, but I do know this. It's shrinking our future by the second. And if we don't stop it, it will devour the past and present as well. It's not that I believe, it's that I have seen. Long have I been waiting here, hoping that one day this very portal would ignite. Then, no longer than a few mere moments after you arrive, zap it goes! The chronicler of time knows a pattern when he sees one. After you, after you! Oh, what wonders we may find on the other side! You first, but don't dilly-dally!
The wild ride continues. It seems the imp has spotted exactly who and what he'd hoped to find here.
О, тут же не было стульчиков, да?
Угу.
Indeed, Sir Imp. As surely as you are he who chronicles all that I weave.
Astounding! Unbelievable! I have so many questions for you, so much to ask, so much to say.
You have brought guests, I see. Strange. Very strange guests.
My reaction exactly, milady. It was their arrival here at the end of time that instigated my finding you. But why? Surely you must know.
This is a question better put to our guests themselves. Tell us, how did you arrive upon this plane? If any other being in Rivellon asked me about the details of their comings and goings, I could describe them down to the minutest of details. But you are different. Of you I see nothing. I know nothing. So please, do tell me, how did you arrive here? A stone. So. It was a stone that caused the great shock of energy that brought you here, and it infused you with new life as well. Is that so? Not like this, no. What happened to you is unique in all my work. Never had I experienced something so contrary to my nature. To weave something I had not seen, had not expected. Life does not simply spring into existence, you see. But yours has. You appeared before me from the moment you came into contact with that stone. Starstone. I now know it to be called.
But, Madam Weaver, how is it possible?
Do you not see all? Have you not woven all that is and could ever
Диалог
be
совсем другой
into your
был, да?
tapestry?
Не помню.
Там типа суть была, что она с ним вообще не хочет разговаривать, он прибегает жаловаться, и потом она уже говорит что-то. Да?
Возможно.
Like the stones, your guests are a mystery to me. I see them before me in this world, but their likenesses appeared not upon my tapestry until they revived the stone. Source hunters, it would seem that yourselves and Starstone are inextricably linked. Why and how, I cannot say, but I do believe that finding more stones will reveal to me who you yourselves truly are. Starstone is not what it seems, Source Hunter. Its true nature must be part of a greater secret, a secret lost even to me.
И моделька у нее другая была.
Может.
Do you see what violence my work has suffered? What wounds lay upon the tapestry of time?
Mysteries of all time, gaps in history. Oh, how they've tormented me for eons.
It would appear that Starstone transforms at your touch, granting me new thread by which to mend the tapestry. Thus, it restores time itself.
I see. What the void would shrink, Starstone restores.
Yes. Though I cannot explain why this Starstone is the antidote to the void's ravishment of our realm. If we do not restore time, if we do not discover the true nature of these stones, the void will consume us all. Indeed you must, though I may not yet understand why. It seems that you and you alone can unlock the powers within Starstone. Yet we are not the only entities who know these stones to be so much more than pretty gems.
Why, of course, that's what they were doing. I have recorded their doings, you see. Collectors of Starstone, more and more by the day. Now I understand. They'd keep the stones from our reach. They'd prevent the mending of time.
Without these stones, Hunter, there will be no Rivellon. The entire tapestry will crumble. Even this plane will fall victim to the void's insatiable hunger.
That shall never be, milady. As sure as Zix comes before Zax, we will put a stop to it. First we mend the tapestry, then we stop the void. Please, our most mysterious guest, are you ready? Are you willing? Will you hunt out the stones? Will you help us restore what has been lost?
Not a moment ago we were hunting Source in Rivellon, and now we're being told that we alone can prevent the end of time by way of some magical stones. What do you make of it?
We can't deny our reaction to Starstone. There must be something to all of this, mad as it may seem.
You're up to the challenge. So, what do you think, Source Hunter?
Still, it's quite a leap from finding a strange stone to placing the world's salvation on our shoulders.
I've got something for you if you're up to the challenge. What'll it be, Source Hunter? Do tell! What'll it be, Source Hunter? Do tell! What'll it be, Source Hunter? Do tell! So, what do you think, Source Hunter? What'll it be, Source Hunter? Do tell!
In the ethereal threads of eternity, do I record the deeds of gods and men, of beasts and spectral apparitions? The drift of continents through changing seas, the rise and fall of empires, the shift of every grain of sand on every beach, the fall of every raindrop on every world, the all but imperceptible touch of lovers' hands. This and all I chronicle without fault. Except, it seems, you. Ask and I shall answer, if I can.
So, what do you think,
I am the Weaver of Time, as I have told you. Though my existence is one that falls behind and yet far exceeds the verb to be. I am but what I am, and that is task. It is the same for the historian. Chroniclers both are we of the epics of eternity. Perhaps we are one and the same. Task multiplied by 2. Who has made us? I do not know. Why have they done so? I do not know. Am I the beginning? And am I to be the end? Who shall say? Perhaps I am the first thing in creation. Perhaps I am creation. Perhaps I am the creator. Or maybe it is you. You who makes dying stars rekindle. Time alone will tell. Alas, the answers to those questions still elude me. You and Starstone remain the imperfections upon the tapestry. As yet. A hidden answer lies behind this veil of inscrutability, though. For the link between you and the stones reveals that your destinies are intertwined. I believe that starstones will not lead you to new places of wonder only. No. They will also lead to new knowledge through the restoration of the threads of old. Oh, Hunter. I have no need for company. Like I have no need for air or appetite or affection. All I need, and all I am, is time. And time is running out, unless you remedy its decline. And yet, I do enjoy your companionship, for you may prove to become the cure that will heal my slipping soul. Quite so. Your absence, it should be an impossibility, but no matter where I look, you cannot be found. I do not know you, which makes you my one perennial imperfection, a blind spot in the eye of time. But perchance I may be cured of this blindness. Perchance the blemish may be undone, and time can be redeemed.
Come, come! I got something
What it is but a seed bereft of sun and water. What it could be, that is what the starstones will tell us. What it is but the end. I reside in another realm altogether. But ever since the end of time appeared in these deep dark skies, I materialized here, as if forced to watch the one thing that is unwatchable, unendurable. A thankless task that you may yet free me from forever. I think that perhaps you can redeem time, because you create time. Indeed, you have set in motion an event I no longer held possible. Know that no longer I did weave. I sat here, at the end of time, and watched on as the void frays the fabric of time like a terrified god that fears the offspring of his own creations. But suddenly there was you. You who stirred the life within the stones. These stones, children of stars, they place new ribbons along my fingers like phantoms out of time. New threads emerged, and I began to weave anew. Starstone gives me new strands to braid into the tapestry. And because you give Starstone energy, it seems that you are creating time. These Starstones, please, seek them so that time may yet be mended. Please, for the sake of all that lives and all that loves, seek them so that the void may yet devour itself alone.
What'll it be, Source Hunter? Do tell!
I am on the trail, Source Hunter.
Гобелен по-другому выглядит.
А?
Гобелен по-другому выглядит.
Да, есть немножко вроде.
But you'll need a way to travel between Rivellon and this homestead, won't you? Who wouldn't want to see what fantastic changes your search will yield? And who knows what the Weaver might discover about you? Luckily, the power of portals is known to you, so I'll let you in on the little secret of how to transport back and forth from the end of time. Just, you know, don't go sharing it around. Never know who we can trust these days. Off you go, then. You've Starstone to find, and I've a tapestry to examine. Surely there must be some clue here as to how on earth you're related to the end of time.
Cross my heart, hope to fade in the void, I honestly don't know. But ask her. If she claims it is so, perhaps she knows why.
Like the imp said to the ballista operator, shoot! Wouldn't it just? Would that I had a Starstone sightseeing guide, but alas, such a booklet does not exist. Just like yourselves, Starstones are curiously absent from history, both in my writings and on the tapestry of time. From what I can gather, though, they were once cherished by devious sorcerers whose reign ended long ago. The stones are therefore most likely to be found in the ancient places of this world. Ruins, caves, the lairs of long-forgotten evils. Those are the dens you should frequent. 2 more pieces of advice. Don't go unarmed, and consult with my agent. Neither do I, but the mere fact that activated Starstone has set the Weaver of Time weaving again more than implies that it and the Void Dragon are natural enemies. This in turn more than implies that you are the Void's natural enemy, for it is you who is setting new events in motion. You who is handing the Weaver new threads. And that which she is weaving is more than an ornament to decorate the shelter plane. It is both history and future history. It is all of time. We may not understand the how yet, but our aim is clear. We shall save creation from the grip of the Void. Now, isn't that a lovely mission? Oh, I don't know if I'm more than those things per se, but having been given a divine mission does have its perks. Old age can't touch me, that's one. Immortality is mine as long as no one skewers me with a sword. And even then, I'll be back in a jiffy. But of course, I have a price to pay for something that is priceless. It is my duty to record all of history, and an arduous task that is. Not to mention how much stress that void out there is causing me. The end of time. I'll be out of a job. So, gather those star stones so that we may know the history that was lost. Know so that we must not repeat what leads us to this dangerous precipice, but do better and close the dark eye of the void forever. Lonesome observing the frontier of creation, surfing the vibrant tide of the eons, always approaching yet never reaching shore. Lonesome being privy to all that has been and all that is. Well, yes, actually. I don't mean to complain, but one certainly doesn't mind a bit of company now and then. Perhaps you can imagine the profound pleasure it is to have made the Weaver's acquaintance after all these years. I can hardly wait to pick her brain about the great battle of the Sons of Sigurd. The last Rivellonian who remembers it died more than 7,000 years ago. Before you go, Source Hunter, a final word. Once you return to Rivellon, there will be someone waiting for you. My agent, my eyes and ears upon your world.
Это, блядь, еще кто?
Я что-то не помню такого.
Потому что не было такого.
I hope he'll be able to help you as much as he can. Time, I need hardly remind you, is of the essence. I wonder, do you know more about the Void? What it is? What lies at the heart of it?
What lies at its heart? Why, nothing, of course. The great absence of all that even the gods cannot comprehend. It eludes us, like infinity, or the finality of tick-tocking time.
На пирамидку нам не дал.
Ready to advance, ready to defend. What can I do?
Good to see you on the shelter plane. Like the imp said to the ballista operator, shoot!
How might I serve our mission?
Да, пирамидки нет.
The Lady of Time, the Weaver of History. I am your biggest fan, dear lady. Could I get your autograph?
It shall be my pleasure, Sir Imp. I'll embroider it in the first volume of your all-encompassing chronicles.
Графисты.
Там собака ходит.
А, это зверушки, которые тут постоянно ходят.
Heard any good tales, my friend?
Чё?
Ну да, этого не было. Изменили. Мы должны были по пирамидке в баню попасть.
I know the imp historian has told you about his agent on Rivellon, and that agent is I. So now that you know of the alliance between me and Sir Zigzags, let us turn to the business at hand. Starstone.
Did it sprout legs and run away? Ah, there it is.
And I'll be delighted to give it. Dark webs are being woven around these parts, and it is my firm belief starstones are the flies the sorcerer's spiders are trying to catch. It can therefore hardly be a coincidence that Councillor Jake was a collector of the stones we seek. His foul murder and the plight of dying time must somehow be interconnected.
У него всегда был кот на поясе, я такого не помню.
Не помню.
That means the task you have been given remains crucial. Find the assassin that did away with Jake, for you're bound to stumble upon Starstone along the way. While you were being lectured by our friend the historian and the grande dame of time, I snuck into his house and had a look around. The advantage of being a cat, you know. You go where you please with impunity. And sometimes the lady of the house even rewards you with a slice of fresh herring. That's where I saw them in a cabinet. Mere slivers, but specks of starstones nonetheless. They lay there, silent and innocent, though bloody murder may have been committed in their name. Let me phrase it like Zigzags might. A universe without time is like a pen without ink. A pointless instrument stripped of the potential of creation. It is void. It is death. It is
В прошлой части не было даже намека на то, что Архуз знаком с этим Заксом.
Да. Это просто нового добавили.
Это просто канон переделали, по-моему.
I'll not pretend to have all the answers, or that I understand all that is happening here and out there among the stars, but I do know I'd rather err on the side of caution.
Ну, больше смысла Арху добавили, то он как-то вообще не пизде пришей рукав, просто торговец был, и ачивка на него убить его.
If Zigzags worries, I worry. We are talking about a creature, after all, that has reclined among the divines as nonchalantly as you and I lays beside the hearths of home. Don't we all long for a sanctuary where our worldly troubles can be held at bay? A bed or a basket so snug it becomes, in a word, safety. But perhaps I speak only for myself, not for veterans such as yourselves that by necessity call any patch of ground they rest upon home. Like any cat worth its salt, though, I deeply cherish a secret refuge unbeknownst to anyone. To be able to repose without a care is such a precious circumstance, save it all too seldomly. I met him first, a long time ago, out in the wastes of Youthful Gore. He wondered aloud what on earth a cat was doing out there in the scorching desert, then shared what little food and water he had with him. So I told him who I was and showed him my human form. He laughed and marveled and told me stories about his travels. In the end, he even shared his great sorrow with me. The unspeakable thing you saw through his looking lens. I was awed and frightened, but swore to help him in any way I could. As of now, that includes helping the two of you. Oh, before you go, here, take this teleporter pyramid. A handy toy indeed that Zigzags asked me to give to you. You'll need the other one too if you want to make use of its powers, but alas, I seem to have misplaced it. Don't worry though. Use this one here and it'll take you straight to its twin.
Ну, теперь логично, да, мог в бане проебать ее вполне. То, что Арх ее потерял.
Да. Теперь понятно, кто старый прохиндей. На самом деле.
Now that this matter has been settled, hunters, I shall detain you no longer. But rest assured, I'll do my share of hunting too. So if you spot a white cat during your travels, do stop to say hello.
Unknown to all time, are you? Leave it to an imp to try to fill our minds with all manner of magical gobbledygook. I'll tell you who you are. Source hunters, members of the most esteemed order in Rivellon. Here to find out and grind out every last speck of dark magic in the realm. There, the enigma is solved.
Oh, where is my pepper? Did it sprout legs and run away? Ah.
What are you? You think I'm... No, comrade. You can keep the honor of being the object of the Space Im's special interest all to yourself. I just hope this fancy of yours doesn't interfere with your real job, or have you forgotten that little detail already? You're a...
Ладно, пойду побоимся.
Oh, where is my pepper?
Давайте он будет
Did it
попозже.
sprout legs and run away?
И опять через неделю.
Да не.
Да не.
Часиков 3. Высыпаемся, короче. Ладно, давай до позже.
Давай.
Ну, до сегодня.